This is Jalen, my legal warrior, and today we have Sylvia Chamberlain. She's a marriage family therapist with Kids Turn San Diego. Hi, Sylvia. How's it going?
Jalen, just going great.
Well, thank you so much again for joining us today. I very much enjoyed our last recording and collaboration about what parents can be doing, or at least the top three things that parents can be doing if they're thinking about separating and dealing with child custody and visitation issues. One of the webinars that I attended where you were the speaker was you mentioned family meeting, and I very much like that topic, and I think our viewership could greatly benefit from learning what that is. So can you explain what is a family meeting?
Okay, family meeting. I'll tell you one thing about a family meeting is that kids love it. And the reason they love it is because they finally get an opportunity to be recognized. So the family meeting is a time that's set aside weekly so that each person in the family has the opportunity to verbalize any problem they might be having at home, at school, with siblings, or with parents. And the family meeting has a definite agenda, so it doesn't turn into a complaint session. The family meeting, as I said, it carries a specific agenda with it. And be sure you have a notebook and blank pages so you can keep track of each meeting, because you have to write everything down. And it's a time to discuss problems at home, conflicts, chores, hand out allowances, talk about finances, and each member has a say-so, and that leads to better cooperation in the family, builds confidence and self-esteem in the children. An announcement can be placed on the refrigerator where anyone can list a problem they want to discuss at the family meeting. And on that note, must also read that if you're coming with a problem, you've got to also come with a solution. You can introduce the meeting by just giving the overall agenda and then setting up the time for the first one. So you would sit down with the family and here would be the overall agenda. And the first part of the meeting starts with compliments for everyone. Give each one a chance to compliment the other. This is an important step and it should never, ever be missed. This is very, very important because it's important for the children to know not only how to compliment, but to hear good things about themselves. Use recognition and appreciation by saying things like, I see that you get so frustrated with your assignments, but you stick with it. I see that you're frustrated with your sister, but you still love her. You did what I asked you to do, but you followed the directions beautifully. I appreciate that you haven't been aggressive. That's a healthy way to be powerful. All those things mean things to these kids. Each person gets a turn to give a compliment to everyone there. And you would be surprised how kids have no idea how to give a compliment, but they learn, and they learn from you. The second part of the family meeting, and then you start and you have someone writing everything down, not the compliments, but you have like a secretary that's going to be writing down everything from the meeting. And that's going to be, every week it's going to be somebody different. So you give each child a turn in writing down the minutes or leading the meeting. So ask, does anyone want to volunteer to be the secretary for the first week or next week's meeting? And that's the person that starts writing down the notes. The third thing is you talk about finances. Do we have to cut back on anything? How's our electric bill? How are the grocery bills? Do we have enough money? Learning how to work together with the finances as a family. And here's also where you can address allowances if you have the money, if money allows. Because giving a child an allowance gives them the opportunity to learn how to use money. When I was a social worker, we used to give half the age of the child we'd give them, that would be their allowance, and they would get it every single week. And I had to check on that. And it can also be an encouragement to attend the family meeting, because you can say, you know, allowances are paid after attendance at the family meeting. This encourages them to attend. It also is a time when you can collect. You know, if you, let's say that there's a consequence, and the consequence was that if you have to pick up the books in the living room, you're going to charge them 50 cents for picking them up. So if they don't pick it up themselves, the consequence is you're going to pick it up and charge them 50 cents. All right, now here comes allowances at the family meeting, and you say, okay, here's your allowance, and here's my bill for 50 cents. And you let them pay you that 50 cents, okay? You do not deduct it from the bill. You let them pay you so they know how it feels to give the money over. Okay, so that's, you know, part of learning about allowances and learning how to follow through with their consequences. And then the next thing is the new business part. And this is where anything on the paper that was posted on the refrigerator that you want to talk about, any problems that you need solving, and if there's a problem with your sibling and you can't solve it, write it down on the paper, and then we can discuss it here. So let's say that one of the problems on the sheet of the paper is an argument between the siblings, and they want to talk and resolve the problem. This is where the parent becomes the mediator. Now, all you're going to do when these problems come up, you can either handle them at a family meeting if it's brought up there. But if it's not at a family meeting, let's say they're fighting in the household, and you know the family meeting is 3 days away, and they need resolution right then you sit down with them and you become the mediator. And these are the steps that you do with them. There's 5 steps for problem solving, and the first one is you allow the person to define the problem. Okay, so tell us what happened. All right, so let's say the problem is that Linda took my tennis racket and someone stole it. Aha. So you clarify the problem with active listening. That means everybody understands. Let's say there's 3 kids in the family and the parents, or maybe it's a single parent, as I was a single parent and I had 3 kids. So if it's everybody has to clarify, everybody has to understand this problem. So we say, okay, let's clarify the problem. Does everybody understand what this problem was? Okay. For example, do we agree that Linda borrowed Jerry's tennis racket without asking and it was stolen? You all agree to that? Okay. All right, so this is the time the family members share thoughts and feelings about the problem. So what do you think we should do about this? So here's where you generate possible solutions through brainstorming. Okay, and you start out with Jerry, what do you think you should do about this? Do you have any ideas? And they might come up and say, well, you know, that racket cost me $15. And Linda might say, yeah, but it was an old racket. It was still $15 that I had to pay for that racket. So I think you ought to pay me back $15. That's okay. And Linda tries to interrupt. Mom says, just hold on. So that one person is talking at a time, not everybody talking. So mom has to be kind of the mediator, or dad, who's ever the one that's mediating the problems there. But at the family meeting, it gives them the opportunity to everybody start talking about what this problem is, because everyone is probably involved in the problem. So then they start generating solutions. And so maybe they arrive at a solution and say, okay, we decided that the tennis racket cost $15. And the family feels that you should pay for it because you took it from Linda. So Jerry, who doesn't really want to pay for it, says, well, what about if I give you $2 a week out of my allowance? Will that be okay? So now he's working it out with Linda. So that's kind of how the problem solving goes if it's in the family meeting. All right. So, and you don't want to have a family meeting that lasts longer than half an hour. That's the maximum, because if it runs over half an hour, the kids get bored and they don't want to listen anymore. And so half an hour is about the right amount of time. So the last thing in the meeting is a treat. So somebody is assigned each week, a different person each week, to have a treat or to have an activity. So they can either, have a, fruit or a cake or some kind of goodie or cookies, or they can have a game. Let's play a game together. But what it does is it provides a feeling of belonging in the family, that they know that they belong together. This is our family. We all belong together. And so that ending of the meeting with the activity and the treat helps them feel like, whatever it was that went on, we're still together. This is our family. So that's kind of the way a family meeting goes.
So if our viewership wants to have access to upcoming workshops and webinars and classes, where can we direct them?
Well, you can go to the Kids Turn website. It pulls up the whole website, gives you all kinds of programs that we do and the people involved. We have counselors there as well.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Sylvia, for your time, your energy, your efforts, and I really look forward for us to collaborate again in the very near future. And thank you, Warriors, for tuning in.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me.